Okay, this next piece is on organizing our emotions. Oh dear. So, in emotions, most of us were not taught emotions properly at this point. Thankfully, because our understanding of modern science is evolving faster than our elementary education is being updated within our adult minds. So it's a great problem to have, right? So what I'm saying is science is moving too fast. And when I was a kid, what we learned about emotions is no longer true. And I'm not even that old. I mean, I'm no young chicken anymore, but I am not in my 90s. And this is probably one of the first times in the world where information is moving so fast that people who are just 5 years younger than each other have a completely different understanding of the world because science is evolving that fast. And the kids who were in the class 5 years more recently have access to more relevant, true information than some of us who were not in elementary school 5 years ago. So all of that to say, in case you haven't thought about this in a while, what you know about emotions is probably wrong. So pause this video and go educate yourself about what the experts know about emotions today, because I don't have any degrees in emotions. I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, but I do have the degrees of life. And I can tell you that being a person who has worked in a lot of different environments and within a lot of different parts of the country in the US, in a lot of different organizations, I have experienced a lot of different personalities, and different personalities express emotions differently. People's experiences also influence how they express their emotions. And what we understand about our emotions can be influenced by our understanding of the world, which is impacted by our values, which could be connected to religion, family, environment, nature versus nurture, all of that. So let's assume that what we know about emotions is not true. That's probably a safer place than trying to make a list of the things that we assume are true, because a lot of those things that we believe are true are tied up in our beliefs about our families, the way that we were raised, religion, a lot of those things. And somebody who loves talking about emotions primarily versus organizing can take that one. But where I want to go with it next is, what do emotions mean in terms of the habits that we create in our world? Because habits are what create chaos or organization. You can either create chaos with your habits or you can create organization with your habits. Organization and chaos are two mutually exclusive things. They do not exist in the same space. It is chaos or it is organized. We can justify it all day long, but these are two different diametrically opposed things. They're two different sides of the same coin. And so when we look at the way that a lot of other people have interpreted the meaning of emotions in the past, it reflects how most of us operate today. So in other words, the way that most people use emotions today is a very outdated way of looking at emotions as a system within the human body. And it looks like this. It says, this morning I woke up and I didn't feel like going to school, and I remembered the last time that I woke up feeling this way, and I had to go to school, and it was completely miserable, and I never want to go through that again. And all of those words that I just shared are encapsulated in that one emotion that you woke up feeling. And it took your brain through that chain of thoughts. And at the end of that emotion experience, you make a decision. You say, I'm either going to get out of bed or I'm not going to get out of bed. And how you make that choice is what I'm talking about. A lot of people in this world just don't get out of bed that day. And that decision doesn't mean that they can't pay rent at the end of the month necessarily. So they think that that decision is not an important one. And the brain is like, oh, thank God they made the decision. I can move on to the next thing and relax for a while until they need me again. And that is not bad. It's not wrong. It's just not optimal. If I'm running American Red Cross and I make decisions that say, well, I don't want to experience what I experienced in the past. That was bad, and I shouldn't have to experience that, so I'm not going to go into work today. That means that a family doesn't get responded to when their house burns down. In most businesses, it's fine that you just don't go in that day. But in the real world, it's not. It means that something doesn't happen that you said you were going to do, that you signed up for. That as a community member, you raised your hand and said, every day for the rest of my life, Monday between Friday, I'm going to do the thing. And all of the rest of us in the whole world counted on you fulfilling that thing in what we decided to do with our worlds. But you're saying, but it's just one day. I don't have to go to work every single day in order for the whole world to operate. And that's where your mind is starting to fight me. And it's going to come up with reason after reason after reason after reason why it's okay that you don't suffer that morning. And you're going to hear me say things that I am not saying right now because your mind is like, oh gosh, she's getting down to the good stuff. I got to keep them out of here. And so we'll talk more about it, but if you assume that emotions mean what we've always thought that they meant in the past, which meant that we had to take action when the world slighted us, we're going to continue to experience people not showing up. And you're going to continue to not show up for yourself. And you're the one who suffers the most when you don't show up for yourself, because not showing up to work that one morning is one decision, but we make 700 decisions every day. I'm making this number up, by the way. I don't know how many it is, but we're making a lot of decisions every day. And we're assuming that those decisions are not important because it's just things like what I'm going to eat for breakfast or whether or not I'm going to get out of bed. And the reality is that those decisions are making massive impacts all around the world. And that's the illusion that our mind is creating to comfort us for just a moment. And when just a moment becomes all of your life, That's why you can't keep your dishes clean. That's why relationships never seem to work out. That's why that career that should have been yours isn't. That's why. But it's not your fault. Nobody told you this. Nobody told me. They lied to me too. We lied to me too. We as humans didn't have the right information. We didn't have good data, but now we do. So we need to use this good data and create better systems using real data about emotions and decision-making processes and how to create good habits in our lives and how to organize our emotions and our thoughts so that they create our dreams for us systematically. Okay, so I wanted to end it, but I kind of don't. Yeah, so let's add one more piece to this, which is that the new system, which again, not a psychiatrist, not a psychologist, yada, 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 no degrees. This is my no degrees symbol. The new way of understanding emotions is connected to the sacred. So one of the things that we have been experiencing less and less of as humans over the last couple hundred years is devout religion. And this is not bad or wrong. It's not a bad thing that we're not practicing as much religion as we used to be. It's not a good thing. It is what it is. But a system result of that change is that fewer people get to experience sacred spaces together. And because we are not exposed to sacred experiences as often as humans, we don't talk about it. It's not part of our worldview as much. And we didn't realize it when we were slowly just emerging to have less sacred, devout religion in our daily lives. But one of the results that happened from that is a continued reliance on survivalist thinking. That, you know, before modern science that we have today, before reason, before the scientific method, you know, we didn't have a reason to question things. We didn't have doubt. We just had blind faith, and it had its own issues, right? Not bad or wrong, just acknowledging that this is what we had. And somehow, through the evolution of humanity, we have forgotten how much we need to feel safe and secure internally, which is what religion gave us previously. And so we're figuring out as humans how to recreate sacred spaces so that we can experience sacred energy together and feel like we have the ability to create that safety and security within ourselves in a sacred way that shifts our psychology, and it actually shifts the brain structure of your brain in the way that you see the world and orient to it, so that you're no longer afraid of everything coming at you, and you're no longer operating from a survivalist mindset, And you can say, even if this all goes terribly wrong, I, Elissa, am going to be totally fine, because even if this job gets taken away from me, I know that I'm employable and can go find another job in plenty of time, and I'm not going to be homeless. And it's the difference between whether or not you panic when you lose your job and lash out against everybody in your world because this terrible, bad, wrong thing just happened to you, versus I just lost my job and I'm so grateful that I don't have to do that job that wasn't a great fit anymore. And now I'm excited and confident within myself to go find a job that is better, where I can take what I learned from that other job that wasn't and make it better for myself and my family going forward. This is the piece. And it's so simple and it is so complicated. But that's the piece that I wanted to finish with. So that's where we're going. We went from, I don't want to get out of bed in the morning, to not only am I going to get out of bed today, but if this is not the right thing for me today, boy, am I excited to experience that. So I don't have to keep experiencing that same thing every other day of my life that I haven't fixed that habit. Very satisfying teaching this stuff. Okay. So that's going to wrap up organizing our emotions for now.